You ever love someone so much you lost yourself trying to keep them? Not because they asked you to, but because you were too afraid to say, this isn't love anymore. Let me take you into something personal. See, growing up, I was always told that love means sacrifice. That if you love someone, you stick by them no matter what. And for a long time, I believed that. I thought loyalty meant losing pieces of yourself for the sake of keeping someone else whole. I thought that saying no was unkind, that standing up for myself meant I didn't love them enough. But let me tell you something, that kind of thinking will drown you. Because love without boundaries isn't love, it's bondage. It's giving someone else the keys to your peace, your purpose, and your progress, and hoping they don't misuse it, but they do. And not because they're always bad people, but because we never gave them a reason to pause. We never said, this is too far. We never said, I love you, but not like this. There comes a moment, and you'll know it when it arrives, when your soul will start to reject what your heart keeps tolerating. You'll feel it in your chest, in the way you don't sleep at night, in the way every conversation with them leaves you smaller, in the way you smile around them, but feel like you're disappearing inside. You might still care. You might still remember the good times, the laughter, the shared memories, but even that won't be enough anymore, because somewhere deep down, your spirit will be whispering, this love costs too much. And in that moment, you have a choice. Not between love and hate. No, this ain't that simple. It's a choice between clarity and chaos, between peace and guilt, between healing and habit. And when you finally choose clarity, it will feel cold, like standing outside in a winter storm with nothing but truth to keep you warm. But that coldness, that's not cruelty. That's the heat of your spirit detoxing from emotional poison. That's strength. That's maturity. Because here's the part nobody tells you. Sometimes the strongest love you'll ever show is the love that says, enough. Enough to manipulation masked as care. Enough to constant disrespect, labeled as just how they are. Enough to family members who think blood makes them entitled to your soul. And listen, that's going to shake some people. They're going to call you heartless, selfish, cold. Let them. They don't know how many nights you stayed up praying this would get better, how many chances you gave quietly, how much of yourself you gave away just to make it work. But now it's time to give something else, yourself back to you. So when I say be cold-blooded, I don't mean be ruthless. I mean, be real, be clear, make the hard choice. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is let guilt drive your loyalty longer than your peace can survive it. So if you feel like you're stuck between love and losing yourself, choose you, even if your hands shake, even if your heart breaks. Because true love, the kind that's worth keeping, doesn't require you to bleed quietly to prove it. It requires strength. And sometimes it requires letting go. You ever love someone so much it hurts? Not just in the poetic way, not in the movies and music way, but in the quiet, suffocating, soul-shrinking way? The kind where you're sitting across from them, nodding your head, smiling on cue, but inside you're folding yourself in half, just to keep the peace. That's what most people call love. But let me tell you something. Real love, true love, don't look like pain in disguise. It doesn't ask you to shrink so someone else can feel tall. It doesn't drain you dry and call it devotion. Real love holds you accountable. It challenges you, yes, but it also honors your boundaries. It sees your worth even when you're not giving everything. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to stop enabling their behavior. Sometimes love means saying, I won't clean up after your destruction anymore. It means you're gonna have to feel the consequences, even if I still care. That's why I say love ain't weak. It isn't soft like people think. It's fierce, it's firm, and sometimes it's silent. Because loving someone doesn't mean tolerating everything they do. That's not grace. That's neglect. That's betrayal of your own heart. And if you've ever had to sit in a room, heart pounding, trying to figure out how to tell someone you love that they're hurting you, then you already know how strong love has to be. Love doesn't mean letting people destroy you and still calling it loyalty. It doesn't mean allowing chaos just because you remember who they used to be. It doesn't mean protecting them from the truth of their own actions just to keep things comfortable. No, real love stares reality in the face. Real love says, I want you to grow even if it means losing me. I want you to be better, and I'm not going to stand in your way while you choose to be worse. Now, don't get me wrong. This ain't about giving up on people at the first mistake. This ain't about cutting off folks just because they didn't meet your expectation. No, this is about the line that gets crossed when people know what they're doing is hurting you and they still do it anyway. This is about patterns, not accidents. About disrespect, not misunderstandings. You can forgive someone and still choose not to let them back in. You can love them and still keep your distance. You can want the best for them and still walk away because they're not giving you their best in return. That's not cold. That's courage. That's what mature love looks like. Because love without strength turns into sacrifice. And sacrifice without boundaries turns into resentment. And resentment, that's how love dies slowly. Not with a shout, but with silence. So when people say you've changed, they're right. You've grown. You've seen what your spirit can't unsee. You've felt what your body can't keep holding. You've learned that love without truth is just decoration on top of dysfunction. So yes, you still love them, but now you love yourself too. And that changes everything. I used to think being cold was a flaw. That pulling away meant I didn't care, that silence made me the villain. But life has a way of teaching you truths your heart doesn't want to hear. One of those truths, that being cold isn't cruel, it's clear. Because when your peace is on the line, when your sanity's been chipped at for months, maybe even years, there comes a point where your soul stops asking for understanding and starts demanding protection. That's when you stop explaining yourself. You stop arguing. You stop rehearsing your worth in front of people who never bothered to listen in the first place. People will call it cold, but what they're really feeling is the absence of access. They're feeling the lock click on a door they used to walk through freely, even when they were dragging dirt in behind them. You're not being cruel. You're being clear. Clear about what you allow. Clear about who gets to be close. Clear about the cost of your energy. You don't owe anyone access to your peace just because you share history. History isn't currency. Shared blood doesn't pay the toll anymore. What matters now is alignment, values, effort, respect. If those things are missing, then the distance you create isn't punishment. It's preservation. See, being clear is about recognizing when a pattern isn't changing and refusing to be pulled under by it. It's about seeing that someone's love for you is real, but their behavior is still hurting you. It's about understanding that some people don't want to change. They just want you to keep adjusting. But you can't keep adjusting without losing yourself. You can't keep folding without forgetting your shape. So you stop. Not because you hate them, but because you finally remembered you. That's what clarity does. It reminds you of your worth, reminds you of your limits, reminds you of who you were before you became a cushion for someone else's sharp edges. Let them talk. Let them say what they need to say. Let them spin the story however makes them feel better. But you don't owe them softness where they gave you wounds. You don't owe them warmth when they only ever brought the storm. You owe yourself truth. And the truth is this: when you get clear about your value, you get cold to anything that threatens it. Not icy, not bitter, just distant, focused, unapologetic. Because being cold-blooded isn't about revenge. It's about clarity. It's about saying, I see what this is now, and I won't keep holding the match while you watch everything around us burn. So maybe they'll never understand why you stopped calling, why you stopped showing up, why your answers got shorter, why your presence disappeared. Let them wonder. Because the version of you that stays silent, that chooses peace over performance, that walks away instead of begging to be seen, that version is not cruel. That version is free. So now you've heard it, the whole of it. The truth they don't put on greeting cards. The truth they won't teach you in fairy tales. That sometimes the most powerful act of love is distance. That silence can be louder than shouting, and walking away can speak more truth than 1,000 apologies ever could. You don't owe anyone your destruction just to prove you care. You don't have to keep bleeding just because someone calls it love. You don't have to keep setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. Be cold if you must, not out of hate, but out of healing. Be distant if you must, not out of pride, but out of protection. And be unapologetically clear, because your peace, your purpose, your future deserves that kind of loyalty too. Love deep, stand firm, and when the moment comes, don't be afraid to be the storm that finally clears the sky. Thank you.